Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, this time for the NRSL Digital Storm Cup Series. 69 nice laps on tap for today, and we've got a first-time pole sitter, Amanda Evans, first career pole, coming at a track like Atlanta Motor Speedway, pretty unprecedented and surprising. And she's got her teammate, Zachary Fitzwater Sr., alongside her. I'm joined by Vince Freeze as we get ready for the second race of the season.
Can Rome make it a double after a Daytona dust-up? Can Amanda Evans and EGM with Fitzwater make it a 1-2? Or will the Terminator from last year realize that he is the Mr. Man of Atlanta? We'll find out more trackside.
Row 2 is Jessica Shelton and Alexander Rowe, your Daytona 500 winner. Row 3, Allison Rain and Samet Oskin. Row 4, Nico Tringali and Cole Deaver. And in row 5, Zach Flickinger and Andrew Rich. Going to go through the rest of the starting grid. Vince, give us our past winners and then the drivers that did not qualify.
Yep, for 2017, speaking of Alexander Rowe, he won this race in a Chevy. 2018, Deanna Jones in a Dodge. 2019, Austin Alves in a BMW.
Alves.
Rowe again. Alves, my bad. 2020, Alexander Rowe in a Ford. And as I mentioned, last year's defending winner, Terminator, Charles Sanford in a Chevy. The people who missed the race go as follows: Scott Roush, Bradley Ream, Reggie Fogelman, Madison Dagger, Adam Flickinger, Lane Sanders, Cole Hudson, Trey Smith, Christian Russell, and Brent James all missing the show as Kuka William Brock ran out the last row.
Looking at a couple of milestones that could potentially occur today. We could see William Brock get top 10, number 30. Don't roll him out just because he's starting last. We saw Gene Sanford ride the top from the final row to a second place finish yesterday afternoon. We'll get into a few more, but let's go trackside for the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
A couple of other milestones include 10 top 10s on the table for, actually, Adam Flickinger DNQ'd, correct, Vince?
Yes.
Okay, so Adam Flickinger not on the table for his 10th career top 10 today. Logan York, though, currently sitting at 9. And Keith Rich currently sits at 19. So there are milestones there for y'all. Looking at top 5s, Jesse Turner is currently sitting at 9. And that is it for that one. And then, of course, you know, the wins. The wins, Vince. All right, so we saw Ford Alexander Rowe win the first race of the year. Will we see Ford go back-to-back, or will Chevy get it done? Mentioned Rowe has won here twice before in his career. Could be the first driver to win 3 times at a specific track. That has never been done. We've got a couple drivers with 2 wins on tracks. Andrew Rich, for example, has won twice at Darlington. And I believe he's won twice at another track, but it's slipping my mind at this time. Pace car dives it down onto the pit road. Amanda Evans, for the first time in her career, will lead the field to green. By the way, Vince, I just realized we had a female inside row, 1st, 3rd, and 5th.
They're definitely showing it up, but good pre-organized start there by Evans and Fitzy. As you see Rowe on the outside, Jessica Shelton will try to stay even as we go down the back here.
One thing to keep note of is these Cup cars have lower downforce than the trucks, Vince. They are already going to be down to 150 there on fresh tires compared to about 170 we saw in the trucks. And it's going to be Fitzwater who gets the run on the top and leads the first lap of the race. These cars also go about 190 into the corners compared to the trucks that I think went about $185.
There's more corner speed in the trucks where there's more liftoff. As you see, it's like that's Dylan Young on Vince Freeze back there looking at our first 3 wide, but they'll settle out.
Dylan Young has won here twice in the Jerky Pro Truck Series, but that was a long time ago, 2017 and 2018. Could he finally get a Cup win here today and raise his career wins total up to 5? That would be the 2nd week in a row a driver has done so if he can get it done. He is the only driver in the field at 4 career wins.
Interesting stuff.
Speaking of driver who has wins, Alexander Rowe is going to take the race lead away from Fitzwater on the third lap of the race. Rowe looking to go back-to-back to start off the season. And if he would win here today, he would be the 7th driver in series history to get 6 career wins in the history books. But he's got challenges here. You've got Fitzwater there. You've got Cole Deaver, who hasn't won since 2019. We saw him win a dual race, Vince. And he goes right to the top side, and he'll take it away from Rowe.
Mr. Andrew Rich there, one of your hot shot favorites, Zach. And is that Henry Sanford and Vince
That
Freeze up top?
is. That's Henry Sanford, who just got a top 5 yesterday afternoon. He's won here before in the Jerky Pro Truck Series as well. What a statement it would be for him to get a rookie win at a non-plate track. That is something we have not seen done since 2020.
Right now, there's Deaver.
Rookies only got wins on super speedways in the Cup Series last year. Amanda Evans has continuously fallen on the inside line. Jessica Shelton has gone backwards with her. As Allison Rain has made it up to the top side, she's looking to go forward. Rain finished last to start off the year at Daytona, involved in an accident. And with the full season championship, Vince, she's got to go. Now remember, she won the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th races of the season last year. First time someone ever won 3 races in a row. Now races 2, 3, and 4 are at completely different tracks except for one. Last year we went Sebring, Vegas Auto Club. This year we're going Atlanta, Phoenix Auto Club. Don't count out the driver up to 10. She knows her way around these speedways. Right now, though, it's a 3-man race at the front between Deaver, Rowe, and Fitzwater. And how about Vince Freeze inside the top 5 early on in this thing?
Yeah, it's surprising. It's Coke's headquarters. The bodyguard was make a statement here. But now let's see, around a teammate about Silky Smooth Oskin right there. We'll see what happens. Good run. But Cole Deaver, man, I think has to be a story. I mean, we know how hungry he is. It's been since Meadowlands 19. He's got to definitely be a favorite. As you see, we start to see some 3 wide in the mid-pack as well on this wide shot.
And Deaver's got the fastest lap of the race with a 31.656. Second on that list is Onjak, who was 2nd in practice. By the way, Jonathan Zorlin was fastest in practice. He currently sits in 22nd place. Let's take a look at the back. Let's go through the pack here a little bit, Vince. See Seth Cole there in the middle. Zach Flickinger, Baranowskis. There's Charles Sanford. Started 20th up to 15th. Really on the bumper of Baranowskis.
He knows it's go time.
See Nate Rogers here. Zorlin just in and out of the top 20. Got a bunch of the Hendrick Junior Motorsport cars right around here. Tringali's up there in the top 10. But you've got Ferranti in the 48, Nate in the 9, Zorlin in the 5, and Ellison in the 24. Ace Rogers, Christian Vargas, Jesse Turner. There's Onjak. Currently scored in 28th. So you see some drivers struggling, such as Keith Rich, Priya McShane. William Brock started last. He's only made it up to 37th, Vince. So I know I said you could sling the top, but a different ball game here in the Cup Series compared to the Jerky Pro Truck Series. Kukalon started alongside him. He is barely inched forward as well, up to 38th. As Derek Hamill, Laura Chung, Jack Holton, and Blaine Saylor round out the field. As now Rowe peeks to the inside of Deaver for the race lead. And look who's coming up to the front, Vince. Dylan Young. You got all 3 Penske cars right now inside the top 10. And Dylan Young has been making grounds on the inside, as well as Nico Tringali, who's right in front of him. Tringali, another driver we have not seen win a race since 2019. He did get the All-Star win in 2020. But like Deaver, doesn't have a points-paying win since 2019. interesting thing to note about Tringale's 2019 season. Tringale won 3 races in 2019, and that's the only year he's ever won a race.
Yeah, right now I'm just seeing these front 6, I would say. I think Andrew Rich might come here into the equation pretty soon if he gets
So Vince, if we want to get onto trends, like a weird coincidental trend, say Tringale won 3 races in his 3rd season, who's to say he doesn't win 3 races in his 6th season?
Yeah, it's possible. And Tringale, I think he was a dark horse. I believe in our preseason, one of us picked him as a potential dark horse. He's definitely got potential as he makes a 3 wide in a row and fits, but he'll back off.
See, mostly a fight here for the top 6. Rich is trying to move forward now in 7th as Seth Cole is right behind Vince Freeze, currently in 9th. Then you got Rain in 10th and a pack of cars all packed up together. And that's pretty much 10th place on down to about 37th or so. Charles Sanford in that Hornet's Nest. Henry Sanford as well as Zach Flickinger goes to the outside of Rain to take 10th place. Now, Vince, we didn't talk about strategy here today for the Cup Series. But as we're on lap 15 already got a 2.5 or so of tire fall off. Fuel here for the Cup cars is about the same as the trucks, maybe a little longer. You might be able to stretch it about 33 to 35. And if this race stays green, it could turn into a strategy race.
We saw that at Homestead last year, where we could have had a splash and dash, but I don't know. I think you would want, if you really know you can't make it, let's say your crew chief says, hey, listen, lap 33 is not doable, come in lap 30. Use that undercut to your advantage and then splash and dash it, or do you go for 2 tires or 4 tires will be the call at the end, but we'll see how that goes.
In the past, we've seen such strategy races at Texas, which we do go to this year, right at the end of April. Another track we could see a strategy race at is Denver. So these intermediates are, known to give us some strategy races at times, depending on the lap count and the conditions. Right now, though, Samet Oskin has fallen like a rock in 6th place, and he has stacked up the entire field almost. As you see Dylan Young, now it's a 5-car race. I don't know what happened to the 22, Vince, but all of a sudden he fell off like a rock.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say he just fell to the pack and lost the draft, but maybe there is a slight draft here, but I think he just lost the tires and chewed him up.
I think so. He is 6/10 slower than Dylan Young that time by, but nobody behind him is getting a run to get by him. See, can Andrew Rich do anything here on the outside? You see him with a bit of an edge. These cars are so, low downforce as it is. Got to get by Oskin here, though. If you're in this pack and you want a chance at a top 5, maybe a win, you got to go. You got to go now. As that time by, they're practically even with the top 6.
Yeah, it's just uncharacteristic of Oskin, too. He's pretty silky smooth on the tires and knows when to save. Maybe they'll make an adjustment in the pit stop as Tringale goes for the lead.
We saw Fitzwater fall there to 5th. Deaver fell to 3rd. Now Dylan Young's looking to take 3rd as Tringale is on the inside of Rowe. Could this be the point in the run where you see drivers start to really back it down? Maybe they want to make it on one pit stop, Vince. That could be the reason for this. Or it's just the point in the run where you see where someone chewed up their tires a couple laps earlier than the other drivers around them.
Yeah, good old game of chicken right here, and I don't know who's going to get their head cut off. I think if you're Rowe and Tringale, you're just helping Young and Devers save fuel. If you're Fitzwater, I think you're in a good spot. You see, man, Wayne Saylor way back there, but I don't know. We'll see what the mile per hour is in the turn 1. I'm going to say somewhere around 186 up there, 185. I think it's down to about 146, 30 miles per hour. I think I save a little bit more. I think if you wanted to make it, I say like 183, 3 and 1, and then maybe let's say 145, 144 if you wanted to make it on one stop. But we'll see what happens here.
Rose clearing Tringali down the straightaway with the runs, but Tringali gets back to his inside in the corner. Dylan Young is about doing the same with Cole Deaver. Fitzwater's just kind of chilling in 5th place now. Seth Cole, Rich, Rain all getting by Oskin, but now Rich is holding up the bottom tremendously. Zorlin has made it up into the top 15, as has Charles Sanford. Ellison was outside of the top 20 earlier. He's up here. Nate Rogers into the top 20. Trying to see if we've got any faders. Amanda Evans from the pole, Vince, all the way down now, looking almost outside the top 25. So just really got the Q setup hooked up, but has just gone nothing but backwards since the green flag dropped. So William Brock and Kukulon made it up a couple of positions, and then they have gone nowhere since as well. Of course, Blaine Saylor very slow, as Tringali has completed the pass on row for the lead. Now Deaver to his outside, looking for second, as Fitzwater has fallen off a cliff.
It's hard to say if they're falling off a cliff or they're playing chicken with the fuel. I mean, I think Tringali has real pace. Or does Rowe just say, hey, let him go, let him burn more fuel? Another thing to watch that we saw in the truck race, pit entry coming on your green flag stop. There's been games being played with that, hitting the apron first versus arcing into 3 and 4 and getting a more swooping entry.
He's still side by side for second there between Rowe and Deaver. Tringali leading. Man, Vince, the funny thing is like, we know Dylan Young can win races. You know, he was very consistent last year, but he was more of a top 10 guy than a top 5 guy. So this really feels like kind of an underdog battle in a way. You know, Fitzwater's kind of got that same thing going on with him. He won 3 races last year, but he was constantly in the top 5, and he got the most top 10s on the season, so he feels more like a favorite driver than an underdog. But look at the back of the pack here. Look at James Ellison. He had a strong car at Daytona. Something went amiss on pit road. But now he's in the top 10 here at Atlanta, at a track he's won at in the Truck Series. So we got all these drivers who have won in the Truck Series up here at the front in the Cup race. You got Henry Sanford there still in picture.
We're catching Fitzy.
They are indeed.
You know, Zach, this is really Daytona. It's part 2. We saw like 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5 at the end of the race, and then 6 down back. It's almost playing the same exact role.
Well, the only difference here is you've got about 4 seconds of tire fall off, and it's the first half of the race, not the second half.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny how we picked off where he left off in a way. But Fitzy, I don't know. I think he's a little too far back to really be saving anything. I think he just lost the tires and cooked them.
This is quite a different race than what we saw last year in the playoffs, Vince. I mean, Charles Sanford and Allison Rain pretty much were dominating this race 1-2. And Charles went on to just dominate it in the end. But not seeing that here this year at all. Got 4 cars up at the front, and it's likely going to be a fuel strategy race here. Really got to start thinking about this here, Vince. If you pit at lap 30... and then you pit at lap 60, you know, you're gonna be flying for 9 laps, depending on what you do that second stop. You know, if you take 4 tires on that second stop, or you take right sides only on that second stop. You know, I got to think about that. Or do you just go all the way to lap 34, lap 35, and then you should be able to stretch it to the finish. Or, and I hope this doesn't happen with the crew chiefs, the data starts to really get like sketchy, like we saw at Auto Club last year. And you got guys who make it halfway and then pit like 15 laps later because they think they're going to run out. So we could see some kooky strategies here.
Oh yeah, that was Auto Club in the Meadowlands too. Yeah, let's hope not. I think right now it's Tringali has the best car, but we'll see who's playing what game in a second. I got to tell you, Zach, something's wrong with Samet Oscar. I've never seen him fall back unless he really overcooked it. He's holding these guys up again.
He has fallen outside of the top 15. He's down in 16th place right now. How about Stephen Cologne has made a unseen move towards the front. He was outside the top 30 earlier. He's up to 17th place now. Vince Friese has done a good job of holding up at the front, even if he's no longer in the top 10. Quinton Moore, I think, started mid-pack, but he's kind of just been chilling. As you see, Charles Sanford and James Ellison have cleared that group, 6th and 7th, closing in on Fitzwater in 5th. As Dylan Young made it by Deaver for 3rd finally. But Tringale's just kind of inching away at this point. And we're on lap 31. Nobody has come to pit road yet. Brock has made it up another spot to 36th. Vargas fell down to 37th. And I think the 7 is pitting here.
Yep.
And he is. So he is not going to be on the one-stop strat. He is definitely going to have to pit again. That gives the lead to Rowe. Dylan Young looking to his outside. As Fitzwater comes in as well. So these are going to be the main two on the undercut two-stop strat. Dylan Young still side by side with Rowe. Does anybody come in this time by? It looks like the 14 is, and I think Dylan Young is as well.
Deaver stays out.
Deaver will stay on the racetrack. Now it's more of a question of who stays out. There goes Ellison, Seth Cole, a lot of drivers. Charles Sanford's going to come in. Allison Rain, Moore, Shelton, McIntyre, Owen Miles. Now this is where things get dangerous, Vince, because now you've got cars gonna go back out on track with the fresh rubber. They're going to be about 4 seconds faster here. Deaver's going to pit on 33. I'm not sure if he can stretch at 36.
No. 34 is questionable. 33, no way. There it is.
James Ellison stays out. Andrew Rich, Audra Baranowskis stay out. Ace Rogers stays out. There goes Tringale. Keith Rich just stayed out. Amanda Evans and William Brock. A lot of cars just came down pit road. And look at the difference from the 7 to the 63. You made it 34. I think you could make it 35. So, yep, best bet pit now. Ellison, Rich, Baranowskis all coming in. Ace Rogers as well. Keith Rich coming in as well. Almost gets run right over by Alexander Rowe.
Oh, Fitzy held up.
Amanda Evans holds up her teammate. And Brock will come in. But look at the run Sanford's going to get there because Fitzy had to check up for Evans. Out of that most previous group goes Deaver, Zorlin, Seth Cole, Flickinger, Onjak, and others. There you see Oskin. Kev Shearer's going to run around his outside on pit exit. Now Henry Sanford, Vince Friese plummeted. Ellison's coming out of his stall as Amanda Evans goes into hers. So now you really got to watch these drivers here. Ellison, Rich, Baranowskis, Ace Rogers. They are the first 4. They are pretty close together. Now it's all about the strategy game, Vince. And right now your race leader is the 7 by a mile. But we know he's going to pit again.
Yeah, he's got no chance of... I don't know. He could still win this, but he's going to have to get going. I think Brock actually had a good strategy, but I think he's too far back at that group that came in the last round. I think it's really Ellison and Rich. Those would be the 2.
I think we might have a pit road issue, and we do, and it's the 19.
No, there's Brock. Yeah, speaking of...
And Brock has had an issue, I think, getting into his stall. And that's a tough break for somebody who started where he did. He's going to finish where he started, which is going to be 42nd. What a race right here for 4th between Sanford and Fitzwater. Dylan Young clear cut in 2nd with Rowe in 3rd. Fitzy will drive by Sanford for 4th. 6th is Deaver. 7th, Zorlin. 8th, Quinton Moore. 9th, Levi McIntyre. And 10th is Allison Rain. So right now, Vince, You're looking at McIntyre and Rowe having quite a start to their 2022 campaign. I'm going to flash the standings up here for a second. Rowe and McIntyre finishing 1-2 last week. Next highest driver top 10 right now is Quinton Moore, who finished 10th. And then you've got to go down to Dylan Young in 19th, Charles Sanford 22nd, and Tringali in 23rd. Remember, full season title, so the winning doesn't matter. It's going to be all about the consistency. As the fastest lap on the race will belong to Zorlin with a 31.596. So we have seen Brock have an issue, and then we've seen Derek Hamill, Blaine Saylor, and now what could potentially be Jack Holton go a lap down, as well as Laura Chung. So there you see Christian Vargas. Remember, Amanda Evans stretched it all the way. She is in 36th. Vince Freeze has fallen to 34th due to a terrible pit stop. There's Keith Rich. He stayed out a long time there, too. He's in 29th. Oskin down in the dumps. Ace Rogers, 24th. I think Baranowskis was in that group, Vince. She is right there, too, in 23rd.
He's Rich.
Andrew Rich, of course, in 17th. Ellison has driven away from him. He is up to 14th. So now there's a question there, Vince. Andrew Rich has won a fuel race before, all the way back at Texas in 2018. And we know that, I think it was Turner and Ellison, or Turner and somebody else at Auto Club, that it looked like they had it made on strategy, and then they had to pit early again because they used up too much fuel at the beginning of the run. So I'm not sure if Ellison is going to do that here again or not, but he is really running it up right now, and that could just be a bit of a skill, or not skill, but experience difference between him and Andrew Rich. But I really got to wonder, Vince, you know, you can make it to pit road after 34 laps and get in your stall just fine under power. So that makes me want to believe you can stretch at 35. So if we see Ellison and Rich stretch at 35, they would be the two to have a great shot at this win. The next driver up would be Jonathan Zorlin, and he is also flying. He is currently 9.5 behind the leader, Tringali, and about 6 seconds ahead of Ellison. So if he can somehow stretch at 36th, it's 36 laps, he is looking like he's going to get this W.
Yeah, if I'm Ellison here, I turn down the wicks. No pun intended. And if I'm Zorlin, I just ride behind Fitzy and Sanford to save fuel. Rowe, I think he's just going to play it for P2 or 3 if something goes wrong with the front two.
And right now, Tringali just continues to lead. Solid 3-second lead over Dylan Young. Going to see it drop there by 0.4 of a second, though, so we're starting to see the fall-off hit for Tringali. Remember, he was the first one to pit, so everybody should be closing the gap. You see Zorlin closed a full second on him that lap. Ellison closed a full second as well. As you see, he was unable to lap Holton and Chung, Vince. They are pulling back away from him now. Their draft is going to let him save a little bit of gas, but he is definitely going to have to pit again. Ain't no way he goes 38 laps on this tank.
No chance, and you can definitely see Dylan Young stabilize, but Zorlin's the man on the mission.
Zorlin now looking for 4th on Fitzwater. He will take it there. And now he'll look ahead at Alexander Rowe. Zorlin, one of those drivers who did not finish well in the Daytona 500. Vincent, involved in 2 accidents, finished 38th. So if he wants to defend his championship, he's got to start getting these consistent runs. You know, obviously it's just the first race since Daytona. But you've got a lot of tracks you know he can win at coming up. He's won on every type of track. You know, 13 career wins to his name. You've got Phoenix, which is going to have some tire wear, not a ton like Atlanta. You know, Auto Club will be up there with the tire wear. Willow Springs of road course will be interesting. Miller Motorsports Park, you know, the strategy there is always crazy. Then you got a big run of tracks as he almost turns Alexander Rowe. leaning into him there. Denver, Texas, Pocono, Richmond, Martinsville, Bristol, Rockingham, Darlington, Homestead to the All-Star break at Pensacola. So you've got a lot of tracks there. You know, we saw Zorlin win, almost win at Bristol and Martinsville. So man can pretty much win anywhere, like I said. So Zorlin will get third there after a very, very risky move there on Rowe. Dylan Young is continuing to inch his way towards the 7, who is now in his sights. He's going to start maybe getting a little draft on him soon. He's still got almost 4 seconds back to Zorlin in 3rd. Rowe in 4th, Fitzwater 5th. Sanford is chilling in 6th with Quinton Moore and Allison Rain behind him. Deaver is 9th. Now he's the next one closing. I think he's on the same tires as Zorlin, but he has not been abusing them like he has. McIntyre 10th with Seth Cole right behind them. Ellison has raced his way up to 12th. Now Andrew Rich is closing back up to Ellison in 13th, Vince. Onjack 14th, Shelton 15th. And then a bunch of other drivers. You see Oskin back into the top 20 now. There's Ace Rogers and Baran Auskus, 22nd, 23rd. And then Brock, of course, is 5 laps down, and he is just flying on a mission right now because he's got the best tires on the track. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to cause a wreck here and mess up this race. You see Keith Rich up to 29th. And then there's Amanda Evans, now up to 35th. Dylan Young's cut the lead now down to 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think here right now we're starting to see a little bit of a calm before the storm. We know Tringali can't make it. I think there's 3 different races. Can Ellison or Rich make it? Can Jonathan Zorlin somehow close this gap? And I don't think he'll take the lead, but get around Young for 2nd. And then does someone really save and back it down, pull a surprise? But I think if you're Tringali, you got to go 4 tires. It's too many laps to go with 2.
We got Blaine Saylor and Derek Hamill here running same lap times as the top 2. Zorlin is flying. We'll see how much quick work of them he makes. He is flying faster than everybody behind him. As you see, Sanford has now fallen to 8th. Seth Cole up to 10th. Is now Rich and Ellison have caught Levi McIntyre together, and it's Rich who's going to move the 99 up in front of the 24.
Dylan Young to the lead, Zach, pretty soon if he keeps that pace up. He just knocked down a whole second, I think.
That he did just about 0.8 seconds that lap by. And you know Tringali's likely going to pit around lap 60. However, Vince, here's something to think about. Pitting earlier here would make a lot of sense, like we saw at Chicagoland. Because if you know you're not going to make it, you should probably pit a couple of laps earlier. Make it worthwhile to take 4 tires and then just fly around the track for the last 15 laps. But you know how crew chiefs can be. You know, they don't always pick what should be the winning strategy.
Yeah, a little stubborn, I guess you could say. If I'm Tringali, I come in now. Well, what's the point of letting Dylan Young get past? Come in now, because the more they fight, Zorlin's going to just chop this even more.
Tringali definitely looked like he had the best car at the beginning of the race, but that was when everybody was on the same tires. And now on lap 54, due to strategy, Dylan Young is going to take the race lead.
Fight a little bit bad. It's only going to help Jonathan Zorlin, I'm telling you. These guys keep doing it, Zorlin will be right in shot right there.
Oh, that is his teammate, Tringali there to Zorlin. So maybe, you know, oh, like, yeah, my strategy's not working, but I can at least hold you up a little bit and let my teammate get up here. Maybe he'll win this race.
Should be down to 1.4, I would say, if Zorlin, unless he was lapping those, or getting past those lappers, let's see.
1.77. You see Rowe now is falling back away from the top 2. As Quinton Moore, Fitzwater, they're closing the distance. Cole Deaver has jumped into the top. They're fallen actually down to 10th. As now Sanford and Seth Cole, well actually no, Sanford was already ahead of Deaver. But Seth Cole is going to pass Deaver. There's Rich right there on the edge of a top 10. and Ellison is right there in the distance. This time by, it's 14 laps to go. Tringali now running almost 3 seconds slower from a fast time. Got to start to wonder here. What do you do with your teammate here of Zorlin?
Let him go. Let him go.
Zorlin's going to jump to the top. Maybe get a little bit of momentum here to attack Dylan Young. That'll fall to 7 to 3rd. See Quentin Moore now up to 4th place. Rowe down to 5th. So now Andrew Rich is up to 9th. Deaver has been knocked out of the top 10. Ellison has gone nowhere back there.
Zorlin for the lead.
I think Ellison burned up his tires, Vince, because he is not running as closely behind Andrew Rich as he was earlier. And there it is at lap 58. Zorlin to the race lead, looking for what would be his first win at this racetrack.
Now's the perfect time to come. If you're young, if you're Tringali, what you got to lose? There's no point of just lying laps behind Zorlin. Take the call, take your lumps, and fly around this track.
Dylan
There
Young
it is.
is gonna do it, I think. I think he's coming in here. He is. So Dylan Young is gonna be the first to pit. Not Tringali, but the two of Dylan Young. Very surprising.
Don't understand that from Tringali, but Dylan Young might have. Oh, there's Rowe. He said same
Alexander
thing.
Rowe is coming in.
Oh,
Shelton.
Shelton came in early.
Shelton had already been into the pits. McIntyre is going to come down pit road. Shelton took 2 tires, so I think the call here is going to be 2 tires and go. And yep, it's going to be right sides only for the 2, 14, 99, and so forth. Yep, and out in the way goes the 2 of Dylan Young. Zorlin stays out. Tringali stays out another lap. I'm shocked. Fitzwater is going to come in. Here comes Charles Sanford. That's really it for the front runners. Zorlin, no signs of pitting. Tringali will finally come in here on lap 60. So Tringali stretched his fuel as long as he had the first time, but I don't think that was the call to make because he had lost positions. There's Dylan Young. No other pitters here at the front. There's Alexander Rowe. So now you got to wonder, how much faster is the 2-car running in the corner? Let's see, he's got at about 148 to 140 of Seth Cole, but he is a lap down. Zorlin still showing no signs of pitting. Quentin Moore's going to be coming in. Rain's coming in. That leaves Rich out, Seth Cole out. Deaver's going to pit. Zach Flickinger in, and many others. Zorlin leads 7 seconds over Andrew Rich, but I don't think he'll be able to stretch it, Vince. Yep, he's coming in this time by.
My problem is, can Andrew Rich even stretch this? Could be a stretch for him, too. I mean, look at Young.
Seth Cole's coming in. Dylan Young will get his lap back here, officially. He does not have enough time, I think, to catch Andrew, though, all the way back around.
Where's Ellison?
I think the 24 came in, Vince.
Oh, there's no way Rich makes it if Ellison. Yeah.
Ellison pit. Baranowskis pit. That left out Ace Rogers and Keith Rich. So Bulldog Motorsports, 3 of their cars, all 3 cars that made the race, they have committed to this strategy so far, but Rich will come in this time by.
I don't understand it.
Made it 34 laps the first time. Does not make it 34 laps this time. And the caution's out. Caution's out on the track. Oh, Ace Rogers is in it. Keith Rich will sneak by. Quentin Moore's in it. but Keith Rich is going to pit. And this is going to jumble everything up, Vince. I don't know who's going to be where.
Boy, oh boy, is Rich still the leader?
Where is the pace car? The pace car will tell the story.
Oh, oh, oh.
Ignore the phasable pace car here, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew Rich took the caution on pit road, though. That is one thing to know for sure. He took it on pit road.
Evans in second?
Amanda Evans had stayed out a long time there, too.
I mean, Rich has got this one, and those are only people he's fighting, but...
And Evans is the leader, I believe, and she's going to have to pit here. She isn't going to make it either.
Oh, my God. Quinn and Moore. Tough break, though.
So now the question is, who is the leader? Got a lot of drivers here on the tail end. It looks like it's the 13 of Jack Holton, who stays out. He is not pit yet.
He's got to come in, right?
And the 2 of Dylan Young is in second.
With fresh tires, though.
Zorlin is there in third. Tringali fourth. Rowe fifth. Fitzwater sixth. Rich is going to be in seventh. Sanford eighth. Seth Cole ninth. And Ellison 10th. We're going to take a step aside and see what brought out that caution. We'll be back for the restart. Taking a look at what brought out the first caution and likely only caution of the race. Quinton Moore coming off the pit lane is going to get run into here, I think, by Charles Sanford.
Here, definitely the speed difference and the Terminator's coming up.
Quinton is... yeah, Charles, I don't know if Charles was trying to get as much room as he could or if he just thought the 89 would get up to speed quicker, but he just... Same thing we saw with Sam Young in the truck race. Hits the right rear and spins him around. Sanford gets really sideways there, but he saves it. Quinton noses it into the wall. Here comes team owner Rain, just going to scooch by. And then here's a great angle. Ace Rogers just nowhere to go and slams him head first. And Ace was looking to maybe stretch it another lap there, or maybe he was going to think of pitting because that's what his teammate Keith Rich was doing. Nobody else ends up getting involved in this, so let's take you guys to the race restart. Getting ready to go back racing. Bunch of drivers in front of the leader were just waved around the field to the tail end of the lead lap. No idea if they are going to catch or not. Likely they are not. But Jack Holton leads this race. He has not pit yet, Vince, and he is likely going to be a big roadblock here. You've got a bunch of guys sprinkled out here. Single file restart, the 95, 42, 32, 84. 23's got the best tires here in the top 10. What is going to happen here? We've got 3 laps of racing to find out, and I think the 13 is running out of gas on the restart.
Oh, my God. Zorlin versus Young? I think Tringali's going to get screwed here.
Tringali's going to get held up by the 13. A lot of drivers might get held up here by the 13. It's down to the 2 and the 5.
Oh, is that Rowe?
Alexander Rowe's behind the 19, but the 19's on old tires.
95's holding up the 2 and the 5. And the 5's going to go around 2. No, he's going to play it wide.
2 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I think it's down to Young and Zorlin. Rowe's in the picture. There's Tringali. There's Andrew Rich. Holton's still under power.
Oh, God.
I don't know if the few laps of difference for right side tires is going to pay any dividends for Rich and others who are now 2 seconds back. Actually make it a second and a half. They're stuck behind the 32. 2 and the 5 clear just about. Yep, there they go. Zorlin's going to jump to the outside of Dylan Young, and he's a sit and duck.
Here comes Vargas, 3 wide. It's not going to help, but Jonathan's rolling to the white flag.
White flag in the air. Zorlin clears Dylan Young.
How about that, man? The champ from last year looking to take it back in race number 2.
Dylan Young on the inside of Logan York. Doesn't look like he's going to have a chance at this thing unless something strange happens here. Down the back straightaway. One final time. Into turn 3 they go. Dylan Young doesn't have the grip. And off of turn 4 for the 14th time in his Cup career, Jonathan Zorlin is going to win in the Digital Storm Cup Series. Andrew Rich up to 4th by the end of the race there. And what a wacky top 10 there we got, Vince.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Amanda Evans and Laura Chung pit there in the last few laps. But Zorlin comes home with the W. Dylan Young second. Alexander Rowe in third. Andrew Rich fourth. Tringali fifth. So a great start to the season for Rowe, Vince. 2 top 3s in a row. You know how much the top 3s pay. Fitzwater sixth. Peter Onjak with a 7th. It took Onjak. I don't think Onjak even finished top 10 last season, Vince.
No, I don't think so.
So Onjak with the first top 10 in a while. James Ellison with a top 10 run here, 8th place. Allison Rain 9th, and Keith Rich gets top 10, number 20 of his career.
There you go.
Shelton, Seth Cole, Deaver, Sanford, McIntyre, Oskin, Baranowskis the highest rookie in 17th place. Kukulon got it up to 20th, Vince, and all that madness.
Yeah, not surprised. But sometimes when you get that late caution, that jumbles the field up. But it was a weird race, and we never really had any rhythm. It was more separate packs, who's playing chicken, who's saving the field, and it eventually turned out to where a late caution siled it.
See some of the drivers there that got waved around, actually advanced positions, such as Stephen Colon, 24th, Vince Fries, 27th. Holton fell all the way down to 28th. Turner, 32nd, and R.J. Bishop, 33rd. As Ace Rogers and Quentin Moore, they're the only accident of the day. So give props to Jonathan Zorlin. Starting his defending season off strong, win in the second race of the year. Now 14th of his career, just 1 win behind Andrew Rich on the all-time wins list. And Vince, I think it's safe to say, just like last season, the race to be at the top of the all-time wins list is just going to be a thing all year long. I think it's going to change hands again. Remember, it took Rich a while to get a win early in the year. We saw Rain jump to the top, then we saw Zorlin jump up and tie, pass, back and forth, and then Rich came out of nowhere in the playoffs and silenced all the doubters. But we head to Phoenix next, standalone weekend, probably looking at a little bit of a longer race in terms of miles. We'll have to find out when we get there. But that'll do it for us here today. What a wacky finish this was. And we'll see you guys in Arizona.
I don't know.